my signal from this point on.
All righty. Just waiting for the Hangout to catch up with us. Yeah, this whole fancy rig is supposed to keep vibrations from making any noise, but it always does. Of course,
Right.
I paid nothing for it. I paid like a good one is $200. I paid like $30 for this. All right. Audio sounds good on the Hangout. Mute that machine. Okay, we are live.
Yay, live. And I don't have to watch Walking Dead this week, so that's good.
Is it not on or what?
It was the mid-season finale last week.
They really make those events now, don't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a hugely popular show, so
Right.
they can make it an event.
The second to the last week of the third week before the final week.
And I've got to say, they have... Oh, should I save it for the show or?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and do that.
See
Have I mentioned Jessica Jones on Netflix?
You haven't, but this person I work with has
I just
talked
meant
about
on
it.
the show, so I will throw in my 2 cents there since we're live. All right, let's do this.
Whoop, whoop.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everyday Linux episode 217, Holiday Buying Guide, recorded December 5th, 2015. Only it's not the 5th, it's the 6th. And I wrote it wrong in the notes yesterday because the day I wrote it was the 5th. One more time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Everyday Linux episode 217, Holiday Buying Guide, recorded December 6th, 2015, and brought to you by Element OP Productions, elementop.com. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Linux show that's not about Linux, but about life in the context of Linux. I am your host, Mark, the Sultan of the Soapbox, and joining me this week is your good friend and mine, Seth, the GUI Kent Anderson. Hello, Seth.
Hello, Mark, and welcome to the fine folks who stopped by this weekend. We're so glad you're spending part of your whenever you're listening to this with us.
You know, I've got to come up with some new intro when we change the show to Geek Rant. I can't say the show that's not about Linux, but about life in the context of Linux. I got to come up with something else. And then
the show that used to claim it was about Linux, but gave up.
The show formerly about Linux. Yeah, something like that. Suggestions from the audience are of course welcome about that. I think I mentioned, I'm pretty sure I did a couple of weeks ago that I had begun my first foray into purchasing from Chinese manufacturers.
Yes.
And I just wanted to say that I got the product that I asked for, that I ordered. They came, the whole process, not counting the negotiations and my research and all that, from the time that I sent them the money via PayPal to the time the products arrived at my door was about 8 days. From China, that's pretty darn good.
And from some places in America, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So yeah, from China, that's awesome.
So they took about 3 days to manufacture them, and then about 5 days for DHL Global to get them to me. And what they are, and I'm still working on how to get this to you. They are laser pens that are stylus. They're 4-in-1 stylus, pen, flashlight, and laser pointer. And if you type that into YouTube or into Google rather, you will see the exact units that I'm talking about, and you'll see them ranging from prices from $6 to $50 for. They all look exactly the same, probably because they're all made by the same couple of Chinese manufacturers in Shenzhen or in Hong Kong. So that's what I bought. I bought a quantity of 200 of them, and I don't mind telling you, after shipping and everything, the total cost was $120 a piece on those. So $220 for 200 units. Got no complaints about that. And like I had said initially, it was just sort of my experiment with the whole process of buying from a Chinese manufacturer. Now, that is not tooling up, right? I didn't invent something like the Kickstarter guys do. I bought an existing product, but my plan to do with those is just give them out to you guys. I got 200 of them. That won't cover the whole audience by any stretch, but it'll cover some of you. So I need you to, I think I could probably ship them with just the cost of a regular postage stamp in the US. They're not heavy. Think I could drop them in an envelope.
Here's what you should do, Mark,
Mm-hmm.
is like people who do Patreon for like $1.
Right.
Or 25, something. So to the first X number of Patreon subscribers, we will give this to.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking not even to the first, just from now on, I'll order more if I need to.
Right.
So anybody who pledges, not pledges, I need to see your credit card cleared for $1. I'll send you a pen. And, we'll call it even. I thought about maybe, having you send me a self-addressed stamped envelope. That's a thing. But I like Seth's idea better.
That used to be a thing. That's not a thing anymore.
So if you go up to elementop.com/Patreon, Patreon, and leave a pledge of $1 or more, I'll send you a laser pen. Tell me the color you want in the comments, or there's a way you can send a message. They're red, blue, white, and black.
So when I guess you'll update the Patreon page with that.
Yeah, sure. I'll remember to do that before the show goes out.
Yeah, and but just be sure you put after it's cleared, because otherwise somebody say I pledged and I didn't get my pen, 0 stars or something.
Well, one person has pledged at the bacon level, and I promised to send him a slab of bacon, and I sent him an email and said, I'm just going to be honest with you, this isn't going to happen anytime soon. And he said, I understand. That's fine. But I do have some time off coming up, with the new year. Maybe I'll get that done. But, even once I start it, it takes 3 weeks to make. Oh, I see in the camera, I've got some craft herpes on me. Sorry. Got some glitter. Glitter is the herpes of the craft world. It's easy to get, and you can never really get rid of it. I glitter breakouts.
No, that's where I went to church. There was somehow one of the pews had got glitter on it. And it's a church I had grown up in. And then, I was away in college. When I came back, I went there. And so somehow this pew got glitter on it. 5 years later, when I was still going to church there, I knew where to sit because I sat on the glitter pew. And it was for 5 years, the stuff still there.
There's some people, I've already done the hats and the shirts, the people who ask for those. And of course I sent out a thing and said, send me your address and I'll send them to you. And only a couple of people, I think literally a couple, 2 or 3, responded and said, here's my address. And I sent those to them, direct ship from Zazzle, the people who make our stuff. So anyway, the pen thing. Yeah. Give you a pen, with frickin' lasers in it.
Freaking lasers.
But I just got to say the whole process was pretty smooth. It was interesting. They were clearly, wow, I may get somebody in trouble. What do I care? They're in China. They're already in trouble. The whole process, Alibaba.com is kind of a cross between Amazon and eBay for Chinese manufacturers. And so people have like bids essentially posted for what they want. And what I found in my case is that bid is meaningless. It means nothing. So like the thing that the exact same thing said minimum quantity of 50 units, I think, and at 40 cents a piece. And I thought, okay, great. So I contacted them and they said, well, the minimum we'll do is 100 and they're 75 cents a piece. And I said, well, what about this here? Oh, that's just old and we haven't updated it. So the Alibaba site has a payment processing, the whole thing where you can buy through the site and you do all that. They didn't want to do that way. They said that I could send it via a Western Union transfer or PayPal. Takes a cut, and they didn't want to give that cut.
Right.
I don't care how they run their business. It's fine with me. I felt fairly comfortable with PayPal. They have some really good, fraud protection things. So I sent it via PayPal, got my product. But when I got it, there was an invoice inside, an official invoice. And I suspect this is for the government reasons in China, taxation, that sort of thing. And it listed the products as being 30 cents per unit. So according to that, I paid $60. No, it's 15 cents per unit. Total price was $30. So 15 cents per unit was what they reported, quote unquote, that I paid for those, when actually I paid 80 cents or something like that. So anyway, it was a fascinating experience to see where they were cutting the corners and just outright lying in some places and taking back doors in others. And I guess my hunch is that's kind of a common way that business gets done in that part of the world.
Yeah, and of course you'll find out the real cost the next time you go to board a plane.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mr. Cockrell, your name is
on the no-fly list.
No-fly list.
And so my guess is that their cost on those is probably somewhere in the dime range. Because the material is cheap there. The manufacturing, they own the manufacturing. Labor is essentially slave labor. So just a total guess is that they probably cost about a dime to make it. So 30 cents is probably their in-government or in-country price. If they were selling it to another Chinese person, that 30 cents probably would be about right.
Right.
But there's tariffs and there's bribes and whatever else. So to me, and it was a bargain for me at $1, right? I jumped all over that. That's great. I couldn't get anything close to that in the US for $1. But anyway, just thought I'd tell you. So patreon.com/elementopie or elementopie.com/Patreon. See how that works. Sign up for $1 and I'll give you $1. If you are already a Patreon subscriber, supporter, and you want a pen, just send me a message. I want my pen. I'll send you one. That's it. So Seth, the Spotlight, that's the one word you have in the notes. What is that?
It's the movie.
Okay.
It's a movie that's out, Spotlight. I have to say, it is based on the Boston, I believe it's the Boston Globe's breaking the Catholic priest's sex abuse thing from 2002. So it was an awesome movie. It was very well done. It's just a great movie. You should go watch it. Good movie. I mean, it's not like there's a spoiler because you already know what it's about, but I thought it was a really, really, really well done movie. And it wasn't like, okay, I'm not Catholic, but it wasn't like a hatchet job on the Catholic Church. It was like presenting what happened. And there's even one comment about how low the percentage was. It's just when you're talking about an organization with that many people, even a very tiny percentage can be a lot of people. So to me, it's whether you're Catholic or any other branch of Christian, Jew, Muslim, whatever, I just thought it was an extremely well done movie. It's so, not a lot of drama, not a lot of action and bullets flying, but good drama, very well acted.
All right. I don't know anything about that. Okay. I don't know why I've never heard of that. Is it a limited release movie?
No, I think it just opened this last weekend.
Well, there's not any dancing squirrels in it. That's why I don't know about it.
Yeah. It has, let's see. Who plays the Incredible Hulk? Mark Ruffalo or David?
Ruffalo, Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo. He is in it. And the main editor, it took me a while to place it, but he played Sabretooth in the X-Men movies. And
okay.
So, and there's other people, you recognize them very well. And the main editor of that department, his name is blanking on me now, but you see him, you'll know. So Michael Keaton, that's who it is, Michael Keaton. So he was Batman. So it's really a superhero movie. Lots of star power. Very good.
I this week, on recommendation of one of my friends, watched a 2008 movie called Eagle Eye with Shia LaBeouf before the giant robots. It was probably a fine movie if you don't know anything about technology, but because I do, it was a terrible, terrible, terrible movie. The basic premise is America built a spy robot network that got out of control, So Skynet, but the NSA.
Right.
And it was just bad in every way. Had great people performing very poorly. And it just, I just wanted to throw that out there because one of the things that I found was interesting, it was released in 2008, which means it was probably principally filmed in 2006 because there's a fair amount of special effects and that tends to slow a movie down. And typically they, those things happen. And so the script was probably written in 2000, even earlier, right? Not a smartphone in the movie, not a one. So these super high level spook people are using their, candy bar phones, their Blackberries and their Nokias, because the iPhone came out in the summer of 2007, and the iPhone sort of changed the world of smartphones.
Right.
So today, there wouldn't be a movie where every character doesn't have a black slab of glass in their hand, and if there was, the reason for it would be that they're making fun of somebody or something like that. But this, a movie, high quality, but big budget movie, not a smartphone in it. And it was just amazing to me that how quickly we forget that that's what the world looked like just 8 years ago.
Right. But yeah, I saw it, and it was a movie. I wouldn't call it a terrible movie, but it was a movie you watched and really you watched it. So
yeah.
Not bad, but not good. Below average is what I would, if I were going to give you my honest score, I would give it a below average mark.
Yeah. On the Rotten Tomatoes scale of 1 to 10, for me, it's a 5, maybe even a 4.
Yeah. See, I would give it maybe a 6.
All right. You have a higher tolerance for BS than I do.
Yeah, but like I say, there was nothing remarkable about the movie, except it had Tricia Heffler from anybody who's any geek who's watched Battlestar Galactica knows who that is. So, and Shia, whatever, I can never say his last name right. It just does not come out right, and a couple other people, but yeah, it was an unremarkable movie.
Yeah, Sling Blade was in it. He didn't ask for any French fries at any point, though.
Yeah. Billy Bob.
So on from movies to television, the much anticipated by some, not so much by me, new addition to the Marvel Universe on Netflix, Jessica Jones, has been out for a while. I'm a little late to the bandwagon. My wife and I have been watching it. Now, I'll remind you that I absolutely adored Daredevil, to the point of telling people I won't be your friend if you don't go watch this. And Jessica Jones, Daredevil, the first episode I felt was weak, but interesting enough to the second episode. And what I always tell people is if you can get to the end of the second episode and you're still not interested, don't bother, because it's not worth it for you. Jessica Jones, I would say that's the fourth episode. You gotta invest 4 hours of your time before it really gets to the point where it's worthwhile. It's okay so far. I think I'm 6 episodes in. And I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. It's okay. Whereas Daredevil was like a 9.85 out of 10. It's okay. And I just wanted to throw that out there. It's really one of the things, I know Seth was just about to speak and then I stepped all over him. One of the things you'll hear people praising is how modern it is and how gritty and it makes sense from a certain mindset. If you are a type of person who celebrates certain political or sociological ideals, and you feel that there's not enough of those on television, then you will celebrate this. It's very feminist in many ways. It's very alternative culture. There's all kinds of, homosexuality is just like the top of the list. There's all kinds of alternative cultures celebrated in this movie. And that goes against my personal belief set, but it doesn't bother me that it's there. What bothers me is that it really feels shoehorned in there. It's like we really need to have one more scene with the lesbians here just to make sure we check that box off. It doesn't fuel the story. It's not important in any way. We just got to put it in there because 2015. And that's what bothers me more than anything about it. There's lots of sex in it. It's entirely gratuitous sex. It doesn't drive the plot forward. It's not useful in any way. And it's just those kind of things bother me from a guy who loves good art. Forget the ideology of it. It ruins the art. And that's why I kind of think it's taken me 4.5 hours of the show to get into it, because 3 hours of it is fluff that was put in there to make the liberal critics happy. So there you go. There's my in-process review.
Well, let me ask you, have they introduced the villain yet?
Yeah, the villain was introduced in the first episode, but in such a way as to not be terribly interesting.
Okay.
And if you're a comic book fan, the villain is the puppet master. And he has the ability to control minds. There's a lot you can do with that. And I think they're getting there. I think they're starting to get to the meat of that, but it's really frustrating that it's taken them so long. And I understand that on Netflix sort of thing where you expect people to be binge watching, you can take a different story arc. You don't have to ramp up right away. You don't have to convince people to come back. The buy-in is lower, but I think they spent too much capital before they got there.
Really?
Have you seen any of it at all?
I have not. I want to see it, but I want to see it, and so I might have to take another trip to Hawaii so I can watch it with my brother on his Netflix account.
But you are a big fan of The Walking Dead.
I am, and the mid-season finale was last week, and there's this person I work with. She is like, she's such a fan of The Walking Dead. She's like the Sitting Dead. So and we agreed that in the 8 episodes so far, they have crammed a good 3 or 4 episodes worth of action into it. So it's still good, but so far the first half of the season has left me wanting. So if you're a Walking Dead fan, what do you think about that, listeners? Are you all just oogles? Or whatever, are you gaga over The Walking Dead, or are you waiting still for it? So yeah, it was still hugely popular, and it doesn't show any signs of slowing. They played it a little too slow. That the 8 episodes has taken place over the course of maybe 2 days. So
of course here in Atlanta where it's filmed,
right,
it's incredibly popular, and I'm not sure if it's because of the strength of the show or because people like recognizing familiar landmarks. I don't know what season are we in, 7, 8. I've still not seen a single episode of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's season 5.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not sure. But then again, their seasons are like 10 episodes. It's not like a network season. It's 22 episodes.
Right.
So
I haven't seen that. I never saw an episode of Lost ever.
In my opinion, you didn't really miss anything.
Yeah. I haven't seen the what's the dragons and boobs one on HBO?
Oh, Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, me either. But of course, I don't have HBO or Netflix. So yeah, but no, the whole the Lost one, whenever I think it is too weird and convoluted to be any good, that should tell you all you need to know.
Yeah, you mentioned Battlestar Galactica. I didn't watch that until it'd been off the air for 5 years. And I binged watched it on Netflix. And when I got to the end of that one, I was pissed. Gee, I invested all of this time and energy in you, and this is the way you end it? Oh, I was mad.
Oh, me too. I was so PO'd about the end of that. I was like, what the bleep?
Plus, I mean, the last season was fairly strong. They really tied in some good stuff and some interesting characters, and then like the last 3 episodes, they just started phoning it in.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting the last thing to be, oh, by the way, we were all Cylons, the end. So,
which is not far from how it ended. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I mean, oops, if you haven't seen it by now.
All right, so before we get on too far, let me tell you about our friends over at DigitalOcean. Something you can get excited about, something you can invest your mental capital in, and it won't disappoint you. I know that's weak, but give me something here. DigitalOcean.com, it's a virtual server hosting platform. So there's really 3 types of hosting that you can do on the internet. The lowest version is shared hosting. Somebody throws up a server, gives a whole bunch of people a slice of it, and you do it. That's fine for your mommy blogs. It's nothing wrong with that. It's in fact, my site right now for, since 2009, I think it is, has been running on one of those, and it's fine. It works, but there are significant limitations to that. The next step up, or let me go the other way. The top of the line is Big Iron. You buy a piece of metal, an actual server, and host it in somebody else's server farm. That's like Rackspace, for example. You don't actually go to Dell in order, but you essentially buy from them or lease from them a piece of equipment, and that is yours. They will reboot it for you, and that's about it. It's your server. It's your thing to do with. In the middle is virtual server hosting, where somebody else has the Big Iron, and they're dividing it up, but they're not dividing it among a bunch of individual users with just slices of a server. You get your own virtual server, and virtualization has come to a point where you can do that now and get darn near bare metal performance. It's not going to do really well for, GPU intensive stuff, but you're probably not doing that on a server hosted platform anyway. So virtual server hosting is really sort of the sweet spot if you're slightly more than a mommy blog, but you're not Amazon yet. And DigitalOcean, from my research after they contacted me, is really the best in the world at that. They best is one of those words where advertisers can say it because a lot of people can be equal and still be the best. I don't know that DigitalOcean stands out among all the others, but it certainly is as good as the best of them out there. So it's the best. So what they offer you is your own virtual server on really just souped up processors, hex core or more. Everything's RAID SSDs. So lightning fast, gigabit internet access, private networking if you want it, IPv6 support for the 2 people in the world who use that. But one of the real killer apps of that is the one-click application. So lots of shared hosting will have cPanel or something like that, and you'll be able to install a Drupal or a WordPress with a couple of clicks. Well, DigitalOcean's one-click applications takes that and takes it into a server. So you say you want to run Drupal, you click a button and they fire up an entire VM. So you've got Ubuntu server running Drupal with all the latest plugins and everything ready to go, and that can happen in less than a minute. From nothing to ready to log in 53 seconds. That's because they're built on speed and reliability. And so for this, you would expect to pay a ton. I would anyway, but you're not. Their basic service, $5 a month. You can have your own server. You can own a server on the cloud, and they have multiple data centers, and you can choose where yours are. So, you can pick a data center close to you. You can move it easily. You shut it down, move it over here, and in a minute or two, you have moved your server from Canada to Iceland. I don't know if they have one in Iceland, but that part of the world. And it's just really good like that. If you're a developer and they have an API interface, if you say, I don't really want to touch the console, I don't want to touch the server, I just want to manage it through an API. They offer all of that for $5 a month. For $5 a month, you get a half a gig of RAM, a single core processor, 20 gigs of storage space, and 1 terabyte of transfer. 1 terabyte is a whole lot of data for $5. You want to step up, and I think really the next step up is the sweet spot. $10 a month gets you a gig of RAM, a single core processor, 30 gigs of storage, and 2 terabytes of transfer. There's a whole lot you could do for that $10 a month. But if you sign up and you use the code Everyday Linux, they'll give you $10 on me. So you can try it out for nothing. So if you choose the $5 plan, you get 2 months free. If you choose the $10 plan, you get 1 month free. There is literally no way you can lose on this thing. It's a no-lose situation. Try it. If you don't like it, you walk away. No harm, no foul. They spent $10. You didn't. DigitalOcean.com. Use the code Everyday Linux when you sign up, and it won't cost you a thing. I like them. I use them. In fact, since I've started getting into this whole thing, I keep thinking of new things that I could do. And it's like, well, I really want to try this experiment. Well, I'll just fire up a droplet. It only takes a minute. And if I don't like it, if it's not working for me, I shut it down. And that couple of minutes it was up cost me some fraction of a penny. So it's pretty impressive once you grab on to what you can do with virtual server. DigitalOcean.com.
Awesome.
And I just accidentally reset the notes so I don't have something. So Seth, do something.
All righty. Well, let's go ahead and jump into the news. And so I was looking through the articles this week, and I came up with something that I thought this was just a really cool thing. Now, I don't mean to single out China because there's pollution all over the world, but this guy in China, um, he made a brick out of the pollutants that he sucked out of the air in Beijing using an industrial vacuum. So I just thought this was super neat. And the link will be in our show notes, but he he's an actual artist and he hopes that the project one day might become a commercial success. So, just he's walking around with this cart with this vacuum cleaner, just with it on in the air, sucking, sucking, sucking. And all of the material he caught actually made a brick. So, that's how we can fuel construction is we can just get giant vacuums harnessing the smog of the city, pulling the particulates out, and then making bricks with them. I just thought this was an interesting story and I wanted to share.
China is sort of well known right now for being dirty and polluted. And we Westerners like to look down on them over our noses and say, well, we've solved that problem. Yeah, but we solved it, but we were just as bad as they were before we did. Well, and you know how we solved it? We solved it by sending all our manufacturing to them.
Yeah, so we're still extremely polluting. It's just now somebody else does it for us. So we've not only still are producing as much pollutant, we're causing more because then all the junk they made by polluting, they have to ship to us, thus causing more pollution. So really, we're killing the planet by offshoring our manufacturing people. Let's bring it all back to America. Sorry, I just wanted to. You said you closed it out, so I was trying to vamp.
Yes, and I appreciate it, and I'm back now. Dave Chappelle, because that's the natural follow-up to Beijing, says you cannot record him at his concerts.
Yeah, this is comics, they're telling jokes. That's their stock in trade. And so what happens if one guy records your video and uploads it to YouTube? Well, it gets shared and copied and you can never take it down. And so now why are people going to go see you at the show when they can just pull up and watch your thing on YouTube? So he has partnered with this company that what was the name of it here, Yonder Pouch. So what happens is you go into the club, you are given this pouch that you put your phone in and the pouch locks while you're in the room, and then you cannot use your phone, but you hold on to it. So you're holding this pouch, so you're not turning your phone in. And if you need to use your phone for something, you have to get up and leave the venue for it to for the pouch to unlock and you to be able to use your phone. So that way, you get to enjoy the show. You hold on to your phone. You don't have to worry about somebody stealing it. And then, he gets to preserve his jokes by not everybody seeing him deliver them. So I thought this was a neat thing. I don't know. I mean, I think it's kind of cool because again, what killed vaudeville was was when TV just recorded the shows, and then all of a sudden these people who used to could go from city to city doing the exact same show, now they had to come up with something new every week. And so it killed most of the stars of it. Well, the cream of the crop were able to move on to TV, but nobody wanted to go to them anymore because we saw that on TV last week. So, now I saw that on YouTube, do something new. And I mean, that's a lot of work to have to come up with a new show every night.
A lot of movie theaters will, throw you out if they see your phone out because you might be,
right,
bootlegging at concerts. Different artists have different rules about that. Some of them no cell phones, but it generally seems to be a little more popular to say, go ahead, record it. And the reason is the experience you're going to get on the tinny speaker and the tiny camera is so poor that best you're going to look at it and say, oh, I wish I'd been there. And it might make you want to go to the concert. With comedy, that's not the same thing. It's not so much an experience. You don't need booming speakers and fancy lights. It's an intellectual exercise. You hear the words, you laugh at them or you don't, and that's it. So I totally get Dave Chappelle's point here that cell phones and sharing of his videos is much more damaging to his career than it would be to say Metallica, who, for example, has been widely held saying bootleg our stuff because they've known that if you bootleg their live stuff, the experience is going to be one that makes you want to go back more. Now, I conversely, they have been aggressive about bootlegs of their studio stuff. So that's one band that has two sides to the same coin. So, you know, I have no problem with this. I really don't. As much as I'm a information wants to be free kind of guy, I don't have a problem with Chappelle saying this is my livelihood and you are literally taking it from me and making it available to other people. Now, once he's done television, right, and I follow a few comedy podcasts, and what they say is once you've done your show, your HBO or whatever, you got to start new jokes. Those are done. And so Chappelle is saying that that life cycle is ending way before he wants it to. I get it.
Yeah, because then, you know, the people running up to the HBO specials, because I've heard them talk about this, is basically they have, for example, say the special is going to have a total of 60 minutes worth of stand-up comedy. So they might have 2 to 3 hours of stand-up comedy that they will rotate the bits out in like a half dozen or a dozen shows leading up to that, where basically they're giving the exact same show, but oh, this joke bomb, scratch it out, insert something else. And so, you know, if it's recorded and out there, then all of a sudden that special is meaningless. And, you know, and the people who go know that, you know, hey, this is almost ready for HBO. So you know, that doesn't really seem to tie in with anything. And the point I was going to make, I lost. but yeah, this is I think this is a neat way to do it, because I wouldn't want to check my phone just on, you know, because I don't know, it's most people wouldn't.
I would not go to the show. I would leave the venue rather than give up my phone.
Right.
And it's not because I think that somebody's going to steal it. It's the coat check problem. It ruins the experience in a lot of ways. One, you're going to create two bottlenecks, one going in and one going out. Two, you know, if somebody needs to reach you in an emergency, they can't. And that's purportedly the whole reason we carry these things, is so we can be in contact. And then you're trusting somebody with what is probably the most expensive thing on your person. You know, women, that may not be the case for some of their jewelry. But for most people, you know, regular folk, their $1,000 phone is the most expensive thing they're carrying with them, and you're giving it to somebody else. So I think this Yonder Pad or pouch is an excellent solution, and very clever, and, you know, excellent way to squeeze $1 out of a situation where society hasn't yet come up with the proper mores to handle the situation.
You know, I don't really, because to me, it would be like the venue is providing it. So maybe a deposit, you know, I would see, you know, a $5 deposit or something that you get back, or I don't know how, but I don't see this. That should be built into the admission to the event, I would think.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't think it's going to cost the individual something, but somebody's buying it, right? Chappelle's buying it, or the venues are buying it, or Chappelle's putting it in his rider that they have to buy it. So there's, you know, somebody, and just quickly, there's not a big description of it, but it says it locks while you're in the venue. So there's probably some sort of a radio wave sort of thing that you can't open the pouch if you're in the no-fly zone. So that keeps people honest, but also, you know, there's kind of no reason to steal it at that point. The whole purpose of it is to ruin your phone. So I don't think you have a big problem with people walking off with them.
Right.
So yeah, it's a neat idea.
I mean, I could see this being like, you know, there's a little electromagnet or something like that you put the pouch in there, you close it, you hit that, you touch that, tap that pad that locks it. And then on your way out, you have to tap it to unlock it.
Right.
So that way, if you have to leave during the show, on your way out, you just kind of tap the pad, and then you're good.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like it's something that would like block radio signals. So your phone can still ring.
Right.
You just have to go back outside to answer it.
Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting.
And sticking with the pop culture of references, we've had Daredevil and Spotlight, going all the way back to 1980, whatever it is now. The Empire Strikes Back. Only in this case, the evil empire is Microsoft, and who they're striking back at is botnets.
Yeah, sorry, man. You had to reach just a lot too much on that one. But yeah, no, Microsoft aided law enforcement in victory over the Dorkbot, and that's his actual name, the Dorkbot botnet. So they were kind of hush hush on how they did it, but either they took down some command and control servers or broke the encryption or something. But they helped clean up the internet just a little bit. So the amount of spam being sent out went from 48 billion to 47.5 billion the next day till other botnets took it up. But anyway, I just, we love to bash Microsoft just because it's fun and they leave themselves so open. You have to bash them. But they also do good things. So yeah, way to go. Yay, Microsoft.
And of course, it's in the end, it's always much ado about nothing because you can't stop a botnet. You can't. That's why they work. That's why there are such things as botnets. The only way to do it is to take out their command and control servers, and it's super easy to put up another one. And so it's minor win, but we'll call it a win.
Yeah, so like I say, I mean, it's like Hydra. You kill one head, two more take its place. So
yes.
But I don't know. I just, like I say, way to go, Microsoft. We love to bash you when you do stupid things, but got to give you some love when you do smart things, or I don't know, smart, but good things. I think this is a good thing.
What may or may not be a good thing is that Google Chrome is dropping support for 32-bit Linux. So this isn't going to affect anybody in our audience because you're probably not using a 32-bit OS. And if you do, Firefox is there. But corporations are really the only people in the world still using 32-bit hardware.
Yeah. And, for people who have their old machine, 32-bit version of Google Chrome for Linux, basically they will stop updating it next year. They will still it will still function. It just won't be receiving any updates or security bugs. So you'll actually be able to look and see the number of whatever version you're on. It won't be one of those things that just it's like one of those random tickers that keep going up. So yeah, it's kind of the end of an era. It's just another, they're trying to kill Flash. Let's go ahead and kill 32-bit architecture while we're at it, I guess.
And this is fine. You gotta cut somewhere,
right?
And they're not saying you can't use it anymore. They're just saying if it's not going to be the latest and greatest. You're already running it on hardware that is not the latest and greatest. And if you want updates, there's still other people. Somebody else can pick it up, right? So Google is not going to update Chrome. They're not going to release Chrome binaries, but that doesn't mean that the Chromium project can't pick it up or that somebody can't fork it. So it's not the end of the road, but I really think there's just not going to be enough hue and cry about this for anybody to care.
Yeah, no, I don't see it as being a bad thing because, as processors and components get smaller and cheaper, especially, this time next year, there's going to be even less. I was one of those people, I thought I would be on 32-bit forever, but just the next machines I bought were 64-bit. And so, but I'm 64-bit now, and my 32-bit stuff that I have still runs on it. So what do I care? The world marches on.
All right. And that's it. It was a slow news week. Those little bits there are all that Seth was going to call from us. So because this is December, and because we're lazy and didn't want to put forth the effort to come up with real content, we thought we would do a show about holiday geek buying stuff. So some of this is stuff that I would buy, have bought. Some of this is stuff that I just think I would like somebody to buy me. But our take on some stuff that you might want to buy for Christmas if you haven't already. A lot of the links that we're going to share are Amazon links, largely because I do all of my shopping at Amazon. But also, they have my referral link built in there. So, why not grease my own pockets there while I can? So we'll just do this round robin style. I'm going to start. My first one, I talked about it a little bit, I think last week, is the Moto 360 second gen. If you want a smartwatch, I know there are others out there, but I can't speak to those as being high quality. The second generation Moto 60 is high quality. It just is. It solved all my problems. Everything that I didn't like about the first one, I like about this one. Check it out. And it's something that I recommend. I like the other night, I took it off the charger at 6:30ish a.m. Went to bed at 11ish p.m. and still had 37% battery left. There's just nothing to complain about that anymore. Yes, I have to charge it every night, but I charge lots of stuff every night. It's sort of a ritual I go through, plugging stuff in. So yeah, check it out. Moto 360, the latest version.
Yeah, it's not like you sleep with your watch on. I mean,
some people do. I never have.
Yeah,
well, it's not true to say never. In high school, I think I did. It's been a long time though.
Wow, I wouldn't want. Well, part of my reasoning is I always have to go find the expensive bands for the people with huge wrists. I mean, I'm fat, but not my wrists. My wrists are all bone, and so they're just so uncomfortable to wear now. So I don't think I would ever sleep with my watch on.
There was a while there where I, like middle school boy, when I had my calculator watch, I think I wore it 24/7 for a year and a half. Not saying I'm proud of that. I'm saying I did.
Okay. Kudos to you, I guess.
All right, Seth, what's the first thing on your list?
Okay. Well, I would see your Moto smartwatch, and I came across this story this week, and I was thinking I'll send it to the news, but I was like, no, it's a Kickstarter thing. But it's a smartwatch, but it actually has a SIM card, and it's not something you have to pair with a phone or a computer to use, but you could actually have a real live Dick Tracy watch. And I'm like, if I were going to get a smartwatch, that would be the one I would get. And I spent, like, at the very least, a solid hour today Googling, trying to find what I just ran across this week, and I could not find the name of it. So when they have the ability to make phone calls, and I understand there's some of them out there, but so like the second generation smartwatch is the good for Mark. The second generation of when they're able to make phone calls is probably when I will break down and buy a smartwatch.
Yeah, I fully admit that this is not the final smartwatch I'm ever going to own.
Oh yeah,
but it's good. I'm not sure I want to be able to make phone calls on my wrist. I mean, other than being Dick Tracy, I'm not sure that that's a feature that I really want. Now, not having to be tethered to my watch, to my phone, I get that, but I always have my phone with me. And with the Moto 360, for example, it's got Wi-Fi built in. So anywhere I am with Wi-Fi, I don't need a phone anymore connected. So this isn't a killer app for me, but okay.
I don't know. Then you could have like a Bluetooth thing, so you're not like having to hold your hand up there. You could still have your Bluetooth receiver, but it would just be. I just think it would be cool, and who knows? I might have two cell numbers, one for my phone and one for my watch, and to me that would be cool. But not having a watch that you have to pair with your phone. So that's why I'm not into it yet. Just it doesn't. The thought of being able to talk through my watch tickles my fancy in the way that being able to play 2-card solitaire, or guess the number or something you could do on the screen.
What kid who grew up in the 80s doesn't want to be Michael Knight? I mean, you want to pull your wrist up and say, "Kid, I need you." I get that.
Right.
I said Dick Tracy. It's not Dick Tracy. It's Michael Knight. I want to be. All right. My next one is one that I just found out about recently due to our good friend, the Door to Door Geek. When I told him I was looking for a new machine here in the studio, noise is always a problem in the studio. You want things to be quiet. And he pointed me to the VenSmile, VEN Smile series of mini PCs that run multi-core Atom processors. And they're, anywhere from $120 to $150 for a full-on quad-core system on a chip thing running Windows with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi and the whole bit. And I really think, for a home theater PC, for a kid's something in their room, there are a lot of reasons where $100 machine that is good, but not a super micro or supercomputer thing would be fine. I mean, this one has 2 gigs of RAM in it. It's got 128 gig storage, so flash RAM. So, and it's on Amazon right now. It's $117. So that is certainly gift territory is where I'm concerned.
That sounds cool. I think, I mean, like, I've become just a tablet guy at home because when I'm doing serious work, I bust out my laptop, but most of the time I just kind of tool around on a tablet. So I don't really need that kind of machine, but the specs on it, they look pretty cool. And the next time my dad goes through computers, so my next one for him might be something like this.
Yeah, you just throw it on whatever existing keyboard and mouse you have, and you've got a $100 replacement. Seems great. All right, what's your next one up?
Okay, well, speaking, I'm more of a tablet guy. I came across this. It's the Samsung Galaxy View. It's sort of designed to be like a portable television. So it's like a giant tablet. And now it won't load. Come on, load Samsung.com. Here we go.
18.4-inch tablet. Wow.
Yes, but it's like I say, it's more like a smart TV. So don't think tablet, think portable
Netflix,
television.
Hulu, CBS, History Channel. I get it.
Yeah. So I was like, I looked at that and I went, I could see me owning this.
It's a kitchen display. It's what that's for.
Yeah. Or, like I say, you can be watching something and carry it into the bathroom with you. So it's small enough and portable enough, 18.4 inches. 32 gig, but it's got a port and it's got Wi-Fi, so whatever. So it's designed for streaming video and it's portable design. 8-hour battery. We'll see if that's right. But I thought I could see me owning something like this. I don't really want a smart TV, but I would take this.
$600, which isn't cheap, but not confiscatory either for what you get.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like I say, I was like, I could, because the all-in-one that I bought my dad, it's like a 21-inch thing that has a freaking battery in it. So I bought him a 21-inch tablet. So this is not quite as big as that one, but this is a little bit more manageable.
All right, my next one is on the things that I did buy list. No spoilers here. A, my wife never listens to the show. She doesn't get it. And B, she told me this is what she wanted. My wife wanted a fitness tracker of some sort for Christmas, and I did my due diligence, did some research, and found that the Fitbit Charge HR is the one to have right now. It seems to be the best blend of performance and battery life. I know several people that have them. I read websites, and they're $145, $49 depending on where you go. Price. It's cheaper than a smart watch, but it is a watch as well. The Charge HR doesn't have notifications from your phone. The Surge, I think, has that. But from what I read, the problem with that is that it's all or nothing. You either get every notification from your phone on your wrist, or you get none of them. And one of the things I like best about my Moto 360 is I can pick and choose. I don't need every email that comes across to be on my wrist. So anyway, the Fitbit Charge HR is not only on my list, but under a tree right now.
Oh, well, that's kind of cool. I haven't. I'm resisting the urge, but I'm Netflix. So if somebody wants to buy me something, you can buy me a year subscription to Netflix, because I need something to be able to watch my shows because of the hours I work. I don't get to watch them. I get home in time to see the 8 o'clock shows, and I just like, but I like the stuff that comes on at 7. And then there's the next season of Daredevil that's going to come out. Jessica Drew, Luke Cage is in development, and I think even DC has something that they're working on for Netflix. So I need a Netflix fix. So I can't always fly out to California, or not California, Hawaii to watch it with my brother.
And that can be done. You can go to Netflix and buy a gift card good for a full 1-year subscription to somebody.
That's going to be what, $100?
Yeah, it's like $9 a month, so $120ish.
Okay.
You know what, Seth? I'm going to buy you. Merry Christmas. I'm going to buy you a year subscription to Netflix because I could squeeze probably some more podcast content out of you for it. Yeah, call it good. It's done.
Wow, thank you.
So
awesome.
You don't have to buy Seth that. You can buy somebody else that. My next thing is not something I have, but something I want. Hint, hint. Anybody who wants to buy me something, it's only $15. It's the Thing Explainer. It's a book on paper. I know that's so rare for me to want that. But it's written by Richard Monroe, the XKCD guy. You might know him, or XCKD. I always get that wrong. And it's complicated stuff in simple words. So he got together with, I can't remember who right now, and decided to use the 1,000 most commonly used words in the English language to describe complicated stuff. So, for example, they use rockets. They explain rockets using the 1,000 most commonly used. So rockets isn't one of the most commonly used words. So they call it the go upper. And so to make a go upper, you have to put hot stuff in a big tube. It's just great comedy, and also explains things, good for kids, good for geeks like myself. It's something I really look forward to looking at. I'm trying to see if there's something I can look at it. Yeah. Tiny bags of water you're made of. Cells. So it's an anatomy lesson on cells called Tiny Bags of Water You're Made Of. Good stuff.
That does sound really cool.
Yeah. So nuclear reactor is called a heavy metal power building. So the Thing Explainer by the guy whose name just went, Randall Monroe.
I don't know, heavy metal power building, I could see a certain segment of people wanting a nuclear reactor based on that description.
It'll give you heavy metal powers. AC/DC.
Yeah! Rock on.
All right, Seth, you're up.
All right. So I'm going into the books as well. Mark Adams wrote a book called Meet Me in Atlantis. In this book, Atlantis, like as in the lost continent. In this book, he sets out to find the lost continent of Atlantis, basically exploring all of the fables and historical clues and all of the conspiracy theories about where Atlantis is, and he does it with humor and style. So and he wrote another one called Turn Right at Machu Picchu. So anyway, this just seems like a book filled with trivia and historic stuff that I would really like, and it's funny. So I'm, Mark Adams, Meet Me in Atlantis. Not quite, I don't think, on the level of yours, the Thing Explainer, but I think this one has a lot of potential.
It is available on Audible and will be added to my wish list before the show is over.
That means I'm going to have to buy it so I can read it, and because I can't have you talking about it before I've seen it.
All right, my next one is a throwaway because it's way too expensive. But what geek doesn't want his own lightsaber? Ultrasabers.com will build you a custom-made, functional in that it lights up and makes sounds and is solid enough that you could hit other people with it. Lightsaber, ranging anywhere from $200 to $2,500.
That has potential. So yes, you definitely keep your Greek kid wanting something like that.
Yeah, and
So
they're beautiful, pieces of art, handmade, that also, happen to be freaking lightsabers.
they they do look kind of cool. So
All right, your turn, Seth. One more.
all right, I got one more here, and I am looking at getting a sound bar for my TV because the speakers just aren't quite cutting it. So I don't want one of those huge, building shaking things, but just something that puts out, because the thing is, you get this awesome TV and they get two pieces of cardboard and just run wires on them and call those speakers.
Yeah,
And
they're
so
monitors. They're not really televisions. They're monitors, and they assume that you're going to have something else to handle the audio.
right. So I haven't, because I'm cheap. So it's like, I'm gonna have to get a sound bar. And seems like the ones I'm looking at, pretty much all of them also have a subwoofer that comes with it. So, that might cause problems because I stay on the second floor. So, but yeah, sound bar. I need one to make my TV viewing complete, especially if I'm gonna have, well, now I'm gonna have to get like a Roku or something so I can watch Netflix on my TV. Darn you, Mark.
So, Tightwad approved version of that. What I did when faced with that exact same scenario is went to my local Office Max or whatever and bought a speaker system for a PC, subwoofer, two speakers for like $40. Plugged it into the headphone jack on the TV. Bob's your uncle. You have much better sound. It's certainly not full on surround sound, but it was $30 and it was way better than the built-in stuff.
Huh, I might have to do that. Cool.
I have been doing things cheap for a very long time. I can be your Sherpa into that world. And my last one is something that I have personally owned and played with, and recently bought for an Angel Tree kid who said he wanted one. The Syma SYMA radio controlled helicopters. They're $20. They're darn near indestructible. I consider them the perfect office toy, because you get about 8 to 10 minutes of playtime, and then you have to go charge them. So you take it in the office, you just plug it into the USB port on your computer, and you take a break and you buzz the boss, with a helicopter, and then you go back to work. I have 4 of these at the office right now. They are all so old now that the batteries no longer take a charge. So it's like my decommissioned Air Force base there at my cube. But like when we were doing a big project, and we had a lot of people in the command center that we'd set up to support this project, it's a tense situation. Things get rough. You fly a helicopter in there and people have to laugh at it. So Syma, SYMA, the S107G is the rock star. There's all kinds of them out there. I also have the Chinook with the 2 blades, much more difficult to fly. What I love about these, it's the built-in gyroscope. My kids, literally my 6-year-old, when she was 6, could fly this thing. And it's bulletproof. Well, not bulletproof, but it's very durable. You're going to want to buy some extra blades for, a buck. You get a full set of blades, because those get broken, but they're easy to replace. And but just an all-around good toy for kids of all ages.
Cool. I like it.
And then last on the list, for the person who has everything, and if you're just not into, the commercialism and all that sort of stuff, and you want to give a gift that is meaningful and is not going to be in somebody's wastebasket in 30 days, worldvision.org. They are a faith-based organization, but don't let that bother you, atheist. They do good work for people, even though they do it in the name of Jesus. So the idea there is they have a catalog there, a gift catalog, and you can buy things for people in developing country. For example, for $100, you can buy a goat and 2 chickens for a specific person in a developing country. A goat gives milk. A chicken makes eggs. You can literally, I'm not kidding here, feed a family for $100. Not just once, not a meal. I take my kids and my wife out. I spend $100 on one pasta meal. For that same $100, you could feed a family with a goat and 2 chickens. It's the right thing to do. And instead of, spending $100 on your dad who's 63 years old, retired, and whatever he wants, he goes and gets anyway. And there's literally nothing you can get him that he doesn't already have. Give him a donation to World Vision, and he'll feel better about himself.
Cool. I like it. I'm going to have to look through here and,
yeah, for $650, you can buy a dairy cow. Why would you want to buy a family a dairy cow? Well, not only sustenance, but you've just given them a business.
Right.
You've just set this company up with lasting revenue for $650. That may be too much for you, but your whole family, instead of getting together at the family reunion and saying, everybody keep it under $10 this year, everybody, pitches in $20, and you buy a family in a third world country a business. Worldvision.org. Check them out. I am a big fan of their work. And it's very simple. Helping people who need the help more than you need the stuff.
Yeah, that's the important thing is, there's nothing wrong with having stuff as long as you can not get so consumed with your stuff you can't help other people in need.
And I will leave this to the audience. I promised you that I would donate 10% of the revenue of this show to open source projects and things that we use. If I get enough people telling me that it's okay to violate that rule this time, I will make a donation in your name to World Vision. But if you adamantly don't want me to do that, let me know. I made a promise to you, and I'm going to keep that promise. But I'm asking how you feel about me, deviating from that this one time. I gave to the Limbitless Foundation, which is, I kind of snuck that in the door because they build everything using open source hardware and their 3D printers. I would love to be able to do this in the name of the Element Opie audience. But, if you feel strongly either way about it, let me know, and I will honor that. But just thought I'd throw that out there. If, for the $600 that Seth's going to spend on the 18-inch tablet, he could change generations of people. And that's not to guilt Seth. I'm just saying that's the power that we as Americans have forgotten how powerful our money is, how powerful we are, how amazingly, I'm not going to use the word blessed. That's religiously charged. How amazingly lucky we are to have been born in this place and in this time. So much so that we throw money away that could not only change a life, but change a generation for a family.
That is true. So, and if you think about this, so much of our cost here is because of the wages of the people who handle it. And you think, well, I make minimum wage, $7.25 an hour isn't that much. But when you go to these kind of countries where $7.25 American is more than these people will see in a month or year, then all of a sudden things that, food that it costs you $20 to get by a week at your house, if you're cooking on your own, $20 can feed a family for a month. So because, we are the sad thing is we're so wealthy in America that poor people from the world would say, I would love to be poor in your country.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Enough sermonizing. Seth, what happened this week in history?
Okay. This is just a freaking cool story. December the 4th, 1974. Donald Sherman uses a talking computer to order a pizza over the phone. He was using a system designed by John Eulenberg and J.J. Jackson, consisting of a CDC 6500 mainframe computer nicknamed Alexander and a device called the Votrax voice synthesizer. So this week in history, in 1974, he basically called the number and then the computer ordered the pizza. I just think that's kind of cool, and that happened this week in history.
That's Matthew Broderick stuff right there.
Yep.
It's funny. Amazon. I've got Amazon on the brain. Domino's is running ads right now about how if you set stuff up, you can order pizza with an emoji from a cell phone or with a tweet. This guy, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, beat them by ordering a pizza over the phone using a mainframe. That's how it took a mainframe to have enough processing power to do that. That's amazing stuff.
So yeah, think about that. With your smartwatch, you can now do what it took your dad, a mainframe computer, to do.
I mean, all the time, Google isn't there yet where I can say, okay, Google, make reservations at Charlie Rogers up at 7 p.m. for 2. I understand Siri has some abilities with third parties to do that, but we're close to that. We're close to that. But I can say, like I think I talked about on the show when I was at a mall in Alabama, I was looking for places to eat and see what their lines were. And so I was looking at the mall directory, and I would just say, okay, Google, call the name of the restaurant. And it looked at my GPS. It knew where I was. It knew the closest branch of that restaurant. It knew the phone number. It called it, and I just spoke to it. So that happens on the phone, right? Easily now. And in 1974, it was they probably had several failed attempts before they actually got their pizza.
Well, and it probably took him, a month to set up.
I envision this being he's typing and the computer is speaking, so he's listening. I doubt the computer is actually processing the response. Maybe it was. Maybe, it knew that when they answered to say I'd like a large pepperoni pizza. But what a difference 40 years makes. When I'm 83, what is the world going to look like? I probably can't even imagine it today.
Yeah, it boggles my mind because, if you think about it, if you took somebody from the turn of the millennium and you took them to 18 or by 1900, it's, it's still horse and buggy, but you have the locomotives and you have the steam engines and stuff like that. But you could move somebody 1,000 years forward and go, oh, that's a wagon. Oh, that's a chariot. Oh, the saddle looks like that. But, you take somebody from 200 years ago, go back to the we're 29. Golly.
2115. You go back to 1815.
Well, no. 1850. Wow. That doesn't make sense to me. So 200 years ago, yeah. And then bring them forward today. They're like, what in the world? Would we be sufficiently advanced enough that it would appear magic to them?
Yeah. Well, as I just said earlier, in just 2006 or 7, the people who made the movie Eagle Eye couldn't envision what 2015 looked like.
Right.
You don't even have to go that far. But yeah, it's
yeah, they couldn't imagine it, but you're not going to freak out going, oh my gosh, he's talking to,
Right. If you brought Abe Lincoln here today, who lived in the 1600s and dropped him down, would he be able to function? I honestly don't. Obviously humans look like humans, but I don't know that he would be able to function. You go back farther and pull Da Vinci out of his time and drop him down. One of the smartest guys ever. I think he would probably have a mild aneurysm. You drop him down to Times Square and, the giant billboards and all that sort of stuff. I think he could, not only could he not imagine it, I don't think he'd be able to cope, at least not right away.
Yeah, it would just be weird.
I mean, Captain America was only frozen for 40 years. Sorry.
Yeah, and we all know that's historically accurate.
And the curve of technology is the classic hockey stick, right? So the changes between 1615 and 2015, I don't think that level of changes will be as great as from 2015 to 2115. I think that we're on that curve of the hockey stick and rapidly going up, so that with each successive generation, we'll be less able to understand and relate to the previous generation.
Yep.
I mean, I can't, I've said before, I think in my lifetime, we'll be communicating, or we will be cyborgs, that the common person will have some sort of cybernetic implant. Right now, some people do, right? There are people with bionic limbs, there are cochlear implants, there are a couple of people right now with artificial retinas. So right now it's an experimental thing. I think in the end of my life, it will be commonplace. So carry that out to the end of my children's life when all purchasing happens by way of cybernetic implants, and so you drop me there and I literally wouldn't be able to function in that world. So I don't think it's that far until it could happen.
Yeah, and I don't know what to think about that.
Maybe I'm too looking too far ahead, but I'm just looking at that power of doublings, right? And we keep getting twice as good as we used to be, twice as fast, twice as much. And there will be a point at which humanity alone, the bags of water that we're made of, won't be able to handle it. So we're going to have to go Borg. We're going to have to include the synthetic in us to be able to advance.
Yeah, or we get robots to do it for us, and we just kind of leisurely sit on the beach all day and die of boredom in paradise.
Yeah, welcome to WALL-E.
Right.
Yeah, we're just in our orange is the new blue. Yeah. All right, that's our show. It didn't go in the direction I thought it was going to go, but things rarely do. This is loosely controlled chaos around here, and I'm okay with it. So, Seth, what do you have to close out our show in style?
Okay, well, this time I'm hitting you with some, this one's a pretty cool thing. You can find out if you are science literate or illiterate. This is a link on the Huffington Post to basically a general science quiz. There are like 47 questions, and, of course, I didn't get them all right. And some of them I was like, oh, I hit the wrong one, but I'm no Einstein, but I'm not, I'm not a lump of, I don't remember what it said. I'm not like a wet paper towel or something. So there's like 47 questions. You can start the quiz and go through it. This is on the HuffingtonPost.com, and the link will be in the show notes. Awesome. Just, see if you're smart or if you're stupid.
I just generally speaking, don't like to give the Huffington Post extra traffic, but hey, sounds good.
Well, no, yeah, this one.
This is the kind of meme that would pass around Facebook.
Yeah, but a lot of those you can take the quiz, and then to find the answer, you have to or to find out how good you did, you have to put in your email address or sign up or anything. This is just, you just click through and take the links. So, and it tells you at the end, and you don't have to like them, or if you want to communicate it on Facebook, you can, but you don't have to.
I got the first 5 questions right so far.
Cool.
Do they get harder as you go?
No, I don't think so. But, some of them are DNA, some of them are physics, and I don't know if they're like random or not. Was your first one about the primary function of DNA?
No, that I've had that one, but
okay.
Yet. In Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc squared, what does the C stand for? I get that a lot of people wouldn't know that.
Right.
The scientists developed the first successful vaccine for polio. Apparently only 75% of the people knew that was Jonas Salk. I thought that was common knowledge. Well, 75% is still common knowledge, I guess.
Right.
All right. So that's it. That's our show, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is the part of the show where I tell you how you can contact us. Go to elementop.com, click the contact us button at the top of the page. That is for now, the best way to contact us. Slightly under it, second unto it, is using the Zcast app and making your comments in line with the show. I really encourage you to check that out. As I said before, it's currently not available because it is in beta and really rough beta. So it's not in the Android store. You have to go to our website, but go to any of our recent shows. There's a link to it. Check it out. Make your comments there. We appreciate it. You can call 559-I-AM-OPI, leave us a voicemail, and I will play it here on the air most likely. Or you can send an email to edl@elementopi.com. That will go to all 3 of us. All of those things are good. We love to hear from you. We do this show in large part based on your responses, what you ask for, what you say you like, what you say you don't like. So if you think you're not important, that you're just dead wrong. You are, I don't know if I'm going to say the most important because I'm the most important, but you're right. You're right there, right under me in importance. I hope people get that shtick, and I'm not really that arrogant. But we do appreciate you not only feeding back to us, but feeding forward to other people. Tell people about the show. Encourage them to listen. If you've talked to people and they've said, I don't know about that, I'm not into Linux, the beginning of the year, we're not going to be called Everyday Linux anymore. So you don't have to explain to them, well, it's not really about Linux. It's just sort of a general show. Tell them this new show, Geek Rant, and hopefully that will go, okay, geeks ranting, I can get into that.
It's like I've watched Big Bang Theory.
Yes. Sheldon lives here. So thanks. We are, let's see, this is going to go out in a couple. So there's still a couple of weeks till Christmas. So you can use those options. If you're an Amazon Prime member, all of those things that we put there could be at your doorstep in a couple of days. So I hope that you buy some of those things for your loved ones. If not, hey, we still got a show out of it. So thanks for hanging out with us. And I'll say that's it for this episode of Everyday Linux.
Bye, y'all.
I'm assuming Element 962 is Rick because he's the guy who watches live, but there's another guy watching live, girl, possibly, but I think the odds are high that it's a guy.
Right.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Next time, second invisible phantom person, you can go to elementop.com/live and jump in the chat room and communicate with us. And we will see that when I remember to log into the chat room. So we'll see you later. Bye.